Islam places great importance on respecting nature. This includes all animals, trees, and the earth itself. When it came to animals, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ narrated a story about a man and a dog to his companions. A man was very thirsty whilst traveling on a long journey. On his way, he managed to find a well. He climbed down inside the well and he had a drink from it. After climbing out of the well, he noticed the dog lolling its tongue from thirst. The man said, "This dog has suffered thirst just as I have suffered from it." So the man decided to help the dog. He climbed all the way back down to the well and filled his shoe with water. Holding his shoe with his mouth, he climbed back up the well to give the dog water to drink. Because of all the effort this man went through just to help a stray dog, Allah was pleased him and forgave him for his previous sins. The blessed Prophet ﷺ even forbade cutting down trees without reason. He even said, "Whoever plants a tree and then a human or animal eats its fruit, it will be considered an act of charity for him." It is the duty of all Muslims to do their part in looking after the earth. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ stated, "The earth is green and beautiful, and Allah has appointed you His stewards over it." When it came to the earth, the Prophet ﷺ stressed the importance of conserving water. Today there is much concern over our excessive use of resources, especially water. Water is an essential part of life, yet 844 million people, that is 1 in every 9, lack access to it. A report by the World Economic Forum assessed that the water crisis is the 4th biggest threat to society. Furthermore, the World Bank predicts that by 2025, 2/3 of the global population will have insufficient amount of fresh drinking water. Therefore, it is very important to conserve water. This is a principle which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ heavily stressed to his followers. The Prophet ﷺ once saw one of his companions performing wudu and said, "What is this? You are wasting water." His companion replied, "Can there be wastefulness while performing ablution?" The Prophet ﷺ informed him, "Yes, even if you perform it in a flowing river, Muslims make wudu 5 times a day to cleanse themselves physically and spiritually before prayer. The amount of water used on average between 5 to 10 liters per each wudu." It was said that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would perform wudu with half a liter of water. It is very important to learn from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ example and help protect the animals, nature, and the earth. The conservation, restoration, and sustainable management and use of water, land, and protection of wildlife is an ideal example of part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, more commonly known as the SDGs. What are the SDGs? On the 1st of January 2016, after a historic UN summit, world leaders adopted the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Over the next 15 years, countries agreed to internally mobilize their efforts to end all forms of poverty, fight inequalities, and tackle climate change, while ensuring that no one is left behind. The 17 SDGs can be grouped into 5 categories. People is to end poverty and hunger in all forms and ensure dignity and equality. Planet is to protect our planet's natural resources and climate for future generations. Prosperity is to ensure prosperous and fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. Peace is to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies. Partnerships is to implement the agenda through a solid global partnership. The value of all life and preservation of water and protection of the planet from degradation is an ideal example of the planet and prosperity goals. Islam in a global world, because faith is change, because faith is action, because faith is impact.